Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm taking a look at the price of Bitcoin right now, and this is very important. I know a lot of people love Bitcoin. Just kidding. I mean, most people, in my opinion, like altcoins. I mean, if you're in the crypto game, yes, Bitcoin is very important. Yes, Bitcoin is great. But honestly, the altcoins is where it's at. That's where the utility is going to be driven. I like Bitcoin as a store of value. See, I look at Bitcoin like a 1957 Ferrari. It's a beautiful car, it's a classic car, but the problem is you don't want to drive it. You want to keep it pristine, you want to keep it in your garage, you want to keep it clean, right? That's what Bitcoin is, and that's exactly like gold, right? What do you do with gold? You take your gold and you put it in your safe. That's it. That's all you got to do, right? And that's what Bitcoin is. Basically, Bitcoin is not a payment system like they're trying to sell it. I mean, it is used as a payment system, right? But I like Bitcoin as a classic, like 1950s Ferrari, or even, Lambo, whatever you want, right? Or even like a rare baseball card. You're not going to take that baseball card and play with it. You're going to keep it locked away somewhere so nobody can mess with it. And that's what Bitcoin is. It's very important. And the reason why I'm covering it today is because we have a beautiful weekly candle that is breaking out. And in less than 24 hours, so that's going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow, we will get a weekly candle close. So the weekly candles are incredibly important. I think the monthly and the weekly are the two best time frames to look at for trend and direction. And what we can see is a beautiful weekly candle breakout. Now it's not closed yet. Like I said, we got to wait till tomorrow, but honestly, it's looking pretty good. We can see that it's probably most likely going to close above. I mean, if it were not to close above, that would be a horrible, horrible wick, because that wick would be all the way at what, 35K or 36K, and then it pulls all the way back down to 30K. So Bitcoin would have to drop like $5,000 in order to close below the line, which I don't think is going to happen. But you never know, anything's possible. So what we can see is a beautiful range right here. So I haven't really covered Bitcoin, and I'm just going to basically look at the chart, and it's telling a story. Okay. To me, the story is bullish, but it's getting sort of, I wouldn't say worrisome, but it's getting close to that point where it's like, okay, now it's time to get nervous. I'm getting very nervous. What's going to happen? Because, when price does this, right, and it pulls up and then it sort of bull flags down, that's not nervous, right? That's anxious, like we're gonna have a big run. But when the price continues to rock to the upside and rock to the upside, then you're getting nervous, because it's like, okay, something's got to give. It can't be like this forever. And since we're in the broader, so if I zoom out, we're in a broader uh, wave. The same thing I talked about theta. So basically, we have two options. Option number one, this whole thing is a bear market, and this is also a bear market, but it's a retracement. We're retracing, and then we're going to have a much bigger bear market. And what is that going to be? That's going to be an A, B, C, right? That is option number one, and that's definitely on the table. Option number two says, okay, we're done with the ABC, because here was our ABC. This was A, this was B, and this was C. And yes, B is allowed to break above A. It is totally allowed. So that is another option we can we can see here. So, you know, or there is the third option, which is this is breaking out to an all new all time high. So there's always going to be three options, right? Well, not always, but you know what I mean. So Like I said, the first option is A, B, which takes us up into here. This was that last, I wouldn't say breaker block, but this is our last sort of cluster of support. This is like a retracement area, right? So price gets up here, maybe even goes above it, takes out that liquidity, and then brings it down. So, so here's the thing. What do I think is going to happen? I think most likely this scenario. And the reason why is because of this right here. And I'm going to get into what we're at. And right now I'm excited. Right now I'm bullish. Right now I'm going to explain to you, the story of what's happening and how great it is going to be, right, for Bitcoin and altcoins. But let me just show this right here. So we got to go back to the previous bull run. The previous bull run, we have this right here. This was our big area. So you can see price coming up, right? We have a rise, we have a crash, we have a retrace, we have reaccumulation, and then we have blast off, right? And that sort of makes a higher low, right? And what happened was we broke out of the range, right? We break out. We broke out of the range, and that's a good thing. But here's the problem. We never came back down to backtest the range. If, for example, if Bitcoin were to come like this, it breaks out, and then it comes down to backtest, and then we went off to the moon, that would be a totally different story. But what happened was the price was so bullish that it just continued to go up, 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 and never retested the range. So now here we are, right? I'm going to take everything off the screen. So here we are. We had our monster bull run, right? And now we have this correction. So I'm thinking, okay, the price got too exhausted to the downside, right? I mean, remember, this is 12K, and we were way up here at what, 69K, 66K area. And what happened was the price never came all the way down. If it would have came all the way down, tagged this area, then yeah, let's go to the moon. But what happened was it came short. So now it's going back up. But here's the thing. Is it going to go back up to retrace this block in here and then come down, right? And that would be an A, B, C, right? And then we can go to the moon. And then we can go to the moon, right? But if this is an A, B, C, that means we still have more upside to go, right? And a lot of times when Bitcoin is in a retracement above the bull market support band, a lot of times altcoins don't go into retracement. They go into full-on bull runs. Remember, a lot of these altcoins are down 80, 90, 95%. If they retraced just half of what Bitcoin did, or in the same vicinity of what Bitcoin did, that's like 300, 400, 500% on some coins. For example, if you look at Cardano ADA and you retrace 50% of that move, that's a monster bull run right there. That's some good gains. Now, is it going to break out? We don't know. But at the same time, we're looking at what are the potentials over the next several months, maybe up to 6 months. And right now, it's leaning towards a retracement. We could very well break out, but I'm going to explain both scenarios here. So basically, what I would like to see happen, right, is for us to come down and backtest this area and then go to the moon. Do I want that to happen? Yes, I just said I did. But is it necessary to happen? No, it's not necessary, right? There's been a lot of times where Bitcoin, breaks out and it doesn't backtest. For example, this is maybe a bad example, but it kind of sort of see how Bitcoin was more going up in an orderly fashion. Had these pumps, these pullbacks, pump, pullback, pump, pullback, right? It was gradually going up until it went parabolic. That was pretty healthy, right? This was just pretty much, take off, see you later, right? No real sustainability. So, that's how I'm looking at it. Now, I could be totally wrong, and this thing is much more than a retracement. Like I said, a lot of times you want to come down and back test. We didn't get to that back test zone. We got it right about here. And, maybe that was enough. I don't know. But if you take this and you go to the very top of the 2017 bull run right here, we did back test it right here. Beautiful back test. And this is where I'm leaning towards more of the bullish aspect. We broke out and we came down, we back test, and even we went below here. We went below this area. And I like that because to me, that is a market structure shift. That is a liquidity grab. Those are the billionaires going after some big, big money, right? Because remember, like I said in the last video, people who buy crypto, like me, you, average people, right? I'm not saying you're average. Maybe you're way above average. I'm average. I don't consider myself above average. I'm just an average person, right? Average income, average, right? We could buy wherever we want. We get our orders filled. But if you're talking like tens of millions of dollars, tens of millions, even more than that, you need to pick your spots. And like I said before, when the price breaks below here, right? So just imagine you're looking through the lens of a retail investor because that's what the market is. The market is not this chart is not telling you what it's going to do. It's not predicting anything. I'm not predicting anything. Nobody is predicting anything. When people share their opinions on charts, they may say they're making a prediction, but they're really just making an observation of probabilities. So if you put the lens of a retail investor and you have this massive crash to the downside, what happened was right here we held support, support, and everybody was looking at that. And I can even zoom in. I mean, that was big support there. And what happened was, boom. I think this was the FTX collapse. Don't quote me on that. It was one of these collapses. I think this was it here. So FTX collapse happened. We broke below the line. Everybody went short, right? Most of the people went short. But then what happened? The smart money said, no, 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 no. I'm going to go long because what we did is we just tapped into the liquidity. We tapped into the ocean, right? It's like you're in a big, you're in Alaska and you're on top of a lake and the lake is frozen and you're walking on the lake and you just stepped through the ice and now you're like freezing to death. So you're thinking, I'm going to die. We're going down. But then someone comes along and saves you. And now you just, you're above the ice and you're safe, right? I mean, that's probably a horrible analogy, but you know what I'm saying. So the millionaires, the big money, the big boys or girls, right? They picked out this spot right here, and that's where they went long. That's what they like to do, right? They like to make you think, okay, we broke down, so now we have to continue going down. But what obviously happened was we didn't. We sort of flattened out here. We had these, and the candles are the big tellers too. You could see the candle is a doji candle or a dragonfly or there's many different names for the candles, but you could see that buyer stepped up. We had this impulse, which you could say wave one, and then we have this pullback, which is corrective pullback, wave two, and then we accelerated right out of it. And a lot of times they can call that a flat pattern, right? Where you have like 3 waves to the upside, 3 waves to the downside, and then boom, 5 waves to the upside. And usually a flat pattern, it just tricks everybody. Not to say that this is necessarily a flat pattern, but it's a good example. So let's fast forward to now, what's going on right now. So I'll take that off the screen. So I just in the beginning of the video, I gave you the three options, right? You know, A, B, C. Now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to the moon, right? That's option number one. Option number two, this is a bear market crash. This is a bear market retracement. We still have much higher to go. And then we're going to go on the final leg of that, the bear market. And we're going to back test this area down here, right? That would be option number two. And then option number three, I can't remember what option number three was, but at the end of the day, we have to take it step by step. It doesn't necessarily matter at the moment if we're going to break out into new all-time high, or we're going to just retrace and come down. What matters is where are we going to go over the next several months, several weeks, and I think we could potentially have the answer. And here's what I'm seeing. Okay, so I'm going to go to, let's look at the 3-day chart. Let's see if that's a little better. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, so we have our line here. I'm going to start right here. So we have a monster crash to the downside, right? Let me actually use the path. So this would be like a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. We have 5 massive waves to the downside. And that told me, like this is a good spot for reversal. Now, I didn't know if the 5th wave was going to continue going down for a little longer or if it was going to pause out here for a little bit. Obviously, we reversed right there. So we have 5 waves to the upside. And then, I'm going to take that off. What happened was we broke out. So, but how did we break out? Why did we break out? Well, right here, I'm going to show you. It looked like to me that we were developing an inverse head and shoulders pattern. I know a lot of people don't like this pattern. A lot of people do like the pattern. Head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, they're not always accurate. They could be terribly bad and opposite of what's really happening. But oftentimes they are used at the top of the trend or the bottom of the trend. If you're seeing a head and shoulders or inverse in the middle of a trend or somewhere where it doesn't make sense, it could be wrong. And if it's not beautiful, it could also be wrong. But this one was actually pretty good. It happened at the bottom of the trend. And here we go. So this is the left shoulder. This is the head. This is the top of the head, and I like how we have equal resistances. A lot of times inverse head and shoulders, they could be slanted. They might look a little funny. This one did look a little funny because of the right shoulder. The right shoulder was sort of short-lived, but that's actually, you could look at that as a bullish sign because buyers are like, let's go on with it. So there's your head, and there's your right shoulder. So boom, there you go. So we developed this inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then what happened? Here's the right shoulder. We broke out, and not only a breakout, but on the weekly chart as well, we had a solid weekly candle close. And then remember what I said before. When we break out, this was an impulse to the upside, but then look how it's going down. See, that's how you kind of tell. Is it crashing to the downside? Or is it correcting to the downside? In this case, we were impulsing to the upside, and then we were correcting to the downside. But the most important part is we back tested the area. So right here, let me just do this. So here's our resistance here, and right here was the back test zone right there, boom. So you have resistance, we have a breakout, and then you come down for the back test. The back test is more important than the breakout itself. I can't emphasize that enough. A lot of times, price breaks out and it's easy. People say, no, it's not. It's super hard to break out. It's actually not. It's actually not. It's hard to explain, um, but there's a lot of has to do with the order book. A lot of it has to do with liquidity and volume, right? A lot of it has to do with volume. So when price breaks out, if there's not a lot of volume, then it could be a false breakout, right? So there's a lot of factors into it. But here's the thing: the most important part is not necessarily the breakout, but the back test, because the back test, obviously you can get in at a cheaper price, right? A lot of times the price breaks out. Okay, we broke out, and then people buy it up here. And I say, no, 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 don't buy it. Not financial advice. Nothing is financial advice. I could be totally wrong on everything I say. This thing can go to $1 million, or it could go to zero. I could be totally wrong, or I could be totally right. You just don't know. This is my speculation. These are my opinions. These are just probabilities of what I see. Okay, so a lot of times you break out, people buy, right? People buy it, and then what happens? It corrects to the downside, and then it back tests. So the back test is very important. That's where you should be buying, right? This is confirmation. You break out, you back test. When you confirm the back test, right, you want to confirm it, right? So let me zoom in here. When we came down and we confirmed the breakout with this monster engulfing candle, I'm not saying buy that candle, because maybe a pullback within that candle. Remember, this is a 3-day chart. You can zoom into the 4-hour chart. I like to use the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart for entries, and I like to use the daily, the 3-day, the weekly for more trends and where we're going. So what happened was we back tested, right? And then boom, we're off to the races. And then what happened? We had all of these problems right here. Let me show you the problems and why this didn't break out like people thought. So let me I guess I can leave it on the screen. Let me make it smaller. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to put a line here. First of all, okay, so price back tested, we ran all the way up into the resistance, but we didn't break out of the resistance. And why didn't we break out? Well, we just didn't have enough momentum. We didn't have enough buyers. We didn't have enough liquidity. We didn't have enough of everything. So what we saw here was very bearish. So anytime you have a big upthrust and then doji candle after doji candle after doji, these are indecision candles. These are like if you are in Hawaii and you know how they step on those hot coals with your bare feet. I think it's Hawaii, and you have to like run across. That's what this is right here. Like this is the line is like the hot coals of fire, and you're like tiptoeing, like you don't want to put your feet flat on it. You want to keep tiptoeing, like you're about to get married, and that's what that's what the term cold feet. I got cold feet, and you're tiptoeing, and then you end up running away. So bad examples, once again, but you get what I'm saying. We ran up into here, we got rejected. Okay, so then what happened? Well, by the way, if you saw my last video, you know Wyckoff accumulation, and this applies as well. This is also Wyckoff, and I'm going to show you how and why. But before that, we crashed all the way down, and we retested. Not only we back tested once, we had a nice, beautiful wave up to the upside. So you could say that's wave 1, and we came all the way down, wave 2, all the way down without totally breaking the low. We made a higher low, very small, but still. So you can consider this a 1, 2. And now what happened? Then we back tested it again. We had another 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we're in the third wave, right? So anytime you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, that's very bullish. Like traditional Elliott wave is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, done. And then you have an A, B, C correction. But sometimes you can get a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you get a 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? If you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, you get a 4, 5, 4, 5. So that's another video, another time. I'm not a big Elliott wave guy. I kind of am, not really, but I use it a lot. I'm in a couple discords that use Elliott wave, and I like it, but I like more traditional TA better. Just because, not saying one's better than the other, but it's all about what works for you. Okay, so let's zoom out and let's see what happened here. So we have this bottoming pattern, which is an inverse head and shoulder. We broke out, we back tested. We had an up thrust, we couldn't get through. We came back down again, we back tested it again. This is a 1, 2, and now what happened? We broke out. Okay, so let me put the Wyckoff accumulation picture on so you can see. So here is the Wyckoff accumulation pattern, and there's two different schematics. There's one where it has a spring where it, you put an arrow so you can see, where it breaks the low, and others where it doesn't break the low. So there's a couple different ways you can look at it, but at the end of the day, they're pretty much the same. So let me make that smaller, and I can show you here. Now you can also look at this as distribution, but I doubt it because of how high we went on this recent breakout. So you can see we have this up move, we have this up move, we have this down move, which is corrective, right? We have this down move, which is corrective, and then we have this up thrust. Same thing here. We have this down move and then this up thrust. And then what happened was we came all the way down, about halfway, and then we have this other wave to the upside. So we kind of came down. It's not pretty in here. It's more of like, it's a linear line because I'm on the 3-day chart, so you can't really see the wave proportionality as you would on a lower time frame, but you get the idea. So we came down, and then we started rounding about, just like here. We came down and we started rounding about. And then what happened? We took off. And what happened here? We took off. So this is another Wyckoff accumulation pattern. There's another picture I can show real quick. That's this picture right here. It's just kind of the same as the first one I showed, but it's a little bit more of a spring phase. So let me get rid of that one. And you can see kind of this was our spring phase. So you can see right here, you have 1, 2, 3, spring. 1, 2, 3, spring. And then boom, breakout, boom, breakout. So you look at the yellow circle, that's what we're doing right now. So if you notice, let me take this, get rid of that. I'm using a cell phone. This is my smartphone. When you're on a computer, it's, you can move faster. So kind of bear with me here. So here was your spring right here, and then your breakout. So same thing here, your spring, and then your breakout. So now that we broke out, and this, I'm going to get to some of the most important things coming up. So we break out, but I have to sort of tell the story so that it makes sense, so that we understand where we are. So we broke out, and then if you look at this yellow circle, what does it look like? It looks like this. We could come all the way, so where are we at now? 34K. We could come all the way back down to 30K, and we would still be bullish. Imagine that. Imagine, next Wednesday we broke to the downside, and now we're at 30K. Everybody would be flipping out, bearish as heck, but that's actually a good thing because remember, like I said in the beginning, in the middle of the video, anytime you break out, you want to come down and back test the breakout zone so you can confirm it, right? Because nothing is confirmed yet. And that's the part where I want to emphasize. So, we break out, you want to back test and then continue going. If we don't back test, that's fine. We want to start to see a flag out. We want to see it flag out in here, just like it's flagging out there. Once it flags out, then we continue the move to the upside. So I can get rid of that because you guys know. Get rid of this. And so what do we see? What do we see? So we either are going to get a back test or we're just going to consolidate here and then go higher. But guys, I'm expecting higher prices. I just don't know if we're going to come down and retest this 30K area. This is our back test zone. Let me put it right here. That is the back test zone. We broke out of the range, but are we going to back test it? That's the big thing. We don't know that. So oftentimes it does back test. So let me zoom in. Let me zoom in here. I'm going to go to the, let's say the let's go to the 8-hour chart. So anything can happen. It's very hard to predict short time frames. Very difficult unless you know really what you're doing. I wouldn't recommend trading this right here because it can do anything it wants. It can go either way. And most of the time when you have this big breakout, a lot of times is you just go sideways. And that's pretty much it. So what's probably happening in here is we're just going to range. We're just going to range. If this is, some type of A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, if we keep just A, B, C'ing, right, and we eventually work our way down, what would that be? That would be just a big A, B, C. And that would be great. That would be amazing. Now, if that happened, everybody would be flipping out, right? Everybody would be totally bearish because at that point, we would think, okay, now we're going to go to the downside. But what's happening is if we have a correct, and now always remember the corrective structure, right? If this just like rocks to the downside hardcore, then yeah, that would be a little scary. But if it's moving in a corrective fashion, going up, coming back down, correcting up, coming down, correcting up, correcting down, that is what we call corrective behavior. If we have corrective behavior landing on this back test zone, then I will be super, super bullish. That would be a great long, and we can just continue going to the upside. And why do I think we're going to continue going to the upside? Because we did not yet measure that first inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now let me do that right now. This is the big deal right here. So I'm going to go back. Let's go to the 3-day chart. Let's zoom out. And here we go. So I was just looking at this area right here. So here's the thing. Where are we going to go? If let's say we go sideways, we continue higher, or let's say we come down and we back test and continue higher. Where are we going to go? Well, remember this right here. This was our inverse head and shoulders. There's your left shoulder, there's your head, there's your right shoulder. So what we can do is we can measure the head and shoulders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this line here, put it right about there. It doesn't have to be, you can actually be even more conservative. Instead of using the wicks, you can use the candle bodies. But just for fun, I'm going to use the entire length of this inverse head and shoulder. So I'm going to go all the way up exactly to the wick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. It doesn't have to be pinpoint nailed exactly. I'm just giving you an idea. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right on the breakout area. So the breakout area, just shift it over a little bit right there. Good enough. Okay. So there it is right there. So at the minimum, I want to see this right here. So what number is that? 40K. Boom. There you go, guys. 40K. So can we make it to 40K? Absolutely. Are we going to do it? I have no idea. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I'm just using this as a probable outcome based off everything I showed you. We have a good shot at going to 40K. Why? Number one, we had this massive down move. This was going all the way. And guys, I consider this the top, not this. I think this is corrective. You can see it's a 1, 2, 3. It's a 3-wave move. and then it barely broke the high. It's a false breakout. So, and if you also look at the oscillators like the RSI, the MACD, this right here was the top, not this. It was this. You know why? Because you see how it's sort of like a Bart Simpson type of pattern? That is called distribution. This was Wyckoff distribution. The big money. This is where Elon Musk and Michael Saylor and all the guys, they were like, buy. It's not going to go down. This is where everybody got totally wrong-footed because it looked like bullish consolidation, but in reality, it was not. It was total distribution. So we crashed to the downside. We had, this was A, B, C, right? And this was going back April of 2021. And where are we at now? We're in September, October, almost November of 2023. So that's a long time. We've been going down from this wave November 2021. So 2, 3. We've been going down for 2 years, right? So now this down move is obviously done because now we're breaking out. So that's number one. The sellers got exhausted. Number one, we had this big move to the downside, and we had this inverse head and shoulders pattern on the bottom. That's number two. Number three, we broke out. We back tested it. That's number four, right? Or number three, or number four. And then what happened was we made sort of this Wyckoff accumulation pattern on top of the breakout zone. So this is your breakout zone right here at, what was that, 25K? 25K area. We broke out of the 25K area, and what happened? A lot of people were bearish, a lot of people were bullish, but up in here, when we got up to like 30K, we came all the way down. This was like a falling wedge. We broke out, and then when we failed to break out, and we had this big. This was a big liquidation right here on this day right here. It was a monster liquidation. A lot of people got bearish. That's when XRP went below its support. A lot of people were anticipating higher prices, but that liquidation totally just demolished a lot of the coins. But it's okay because everything is meant to happen, right? So at this point, everybody was bearish. Everybody was throwing in the towel. We're going to zero. So what happened? We paused out here. We back tested it again. Not only once, but twice. And then what happened? Boom, we broke out. So I just gave you a bunch of reasons why we're bullish. Now, can the party end? Of course. Could the party be already over? Of course. The party could be already done with, and we could be going down. But it's very unlikely. And I'll show you why, but let me just finish my thought here. So if this is indeed everything I said was true, and we break out, and this is our breakout area, then we want to see another wave to the upside. And really, what you really want to see is price getting into this area up here. So that would be like 50K. I don't know if we can get that high, but at least 40 to 45K, right? We get up to 45K. So then that would be a what? That would be what? If it's a retracement, it doesn't matter if it's a retracement and we go back to the downside, or if it's going to all new all-time high, right? So at the end of the day, this was 1 or an A, this is 2 or a B, and this is 3 or a C. So we have an A, B, C. So regardless of what happens, it's looking pretty good in the short term. Like I said, we have an A, this was B, and we're looking for C. Now, let me take everything off the screen. Now, if this is A, or I'm sorry, yeah, this is A, and this is B, and this is C, that doesn't look right. Does that look proportional to you? Does this look proportional to you? A, B, C. I mean, look at C. Look how tiny that is. Look how big A is, and look how tiny C is. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's why, I believe we're not finished. Number one, we didn't break above, we didn't finish the measured move of the inverse head and shoulders. Inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder. So this would be the measurement. We didn't exceed that we didn't even get to that measurement. We're right at 34K. The measurement is actually 40K. So that's number one. Number two, this right here doesn't look like a C wave, or for that matter, a third wave. What that looks like to me is just the start of something. So, I mean, guys, we're at a 40 minutes into this video. I didn't mean for it to get this long. Sorry how long it is. You can speed up the video if you want, but I've given a lot of reasons why this thing can be bullish. So my final thoughts right here. Number one, I would like to see the price come down and back test this line right here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was wave 1. Then we have an A, B, C. That's wave 2. And now we're in wave 1, right? This is wave 1. But now we need wave 2. And wave 2, we want to come down and back test 30K. So we're at 34K now. If next week we're at 30K, that's okay. That's okay. That's still bullish, as long as we hold above the backtest zone. Then we want to see it continue to rock to the upside, and that's my prediction right there. That's it, pretty much. This could be totally invalidated. I'm not betting the farm on it. I'm not even... Look, guys, I'm a hodler, right? I hold mostly XRP and various altcoins. I hold Bitcoin. The reason I'm doing a Bitcoin video, the reason why Bitcoin is so important is because it dictates the rest of the market, you know? And to me, the big thing is guys, we've been consolidating since when? So we were in this range since March. We were in this range since March. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, going on 7-8 months. Let's say 7 months. So we've been going sideways for 7 months, and people say it's distribution, but to me it's accumulation. We've been going sideways 7 months. We break out. We have the candle closing, right? Tomorrow is the weekly candle. Let me go to the weekly candle. So boom, look at that weekly candle. That weekly candle needs to close in 22 hours, 23 hours. That weekly candle needs to close. Once it closes, then we can come down, back test, and then continue on. But the important thing is we close above the breakout area. So once we get to that point, what's going to happen? What is going to happen when we get to that point? Well, either, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is a B, we're just going to retrace and go C, or this is going to be a 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to pick up steam and then continue higher and break out new all-time high. So pick your poison. What is it going to be? Retracement and then down, or continuing to rock to the upside? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because right now we're bullish. So until we get to that day, until we get to that point, until we reach those Fibonacci levels, you know, it'll be interesting. So speaking of Fibonacci, if I just pull this down, I mean, guys, we want to at least hit, you know, maybe the 618. I don't know if this is on log scale, but, you know, we want to get at least up into here, into these retracement levels up into here. So we can get up into there, then we can see some good momentum, right? Or at least from now until we get up to there. If we, you know, once we get there, once price gets there, if it gets there, I'm going to be very scared. I'm going to be very nervous, because at this point, this is when it can all go to hell, right? Because we have an A, B, C, and then we can just continue to just die. Well, not die, but you know what I mean. So you have like this monster 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And what is that? That is a back test of the breakout zone of the previous bull run, but also, what is that? That is an A, B, C. Now, do I want that to happen? Hell no, I don't want that to happen. I want us to continue going higher and higher and higher and higher. But at the moment, I have to treat it conservatively. I have to treat it as if this is what's happening. So, what do you think, guys? Are you guys bullish? Are you guys bearish? What do you guys think is going to happen over the next several months, weeks, or even several years? I believe Bitcoin will eventually break a new all-time high. Do I think it's coming right away? I mean, totally could. It totally could, and it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you see all the inflation and crazy crap. I don't really, a lot of people say the Fed is tightening and the interest rates. Yes, that has a lot to do with it. But I'm not going to bet the farm just because the Fed is doing this or that or this or that, or because at the end of the day, it's Bitcoin. It's crypto. You know, if the dollar and the currencies are dying, what do people do with their money? Are they going to put it in a risky asset like Bitcoin, or maybe the psychology is, yes, I want to buy Bitcoin because my dollars are getting worthless. There's a lot of different perspectives you can look at, but at the end of the day, I don't care because I'm a hodler and you shouldn't care either. All you got to do is dollar cost average. I mean, I wouldn't be buying at this very moment, especially not Bitcoin. I mean, a lot of altcoins look like they're good buys. Like I bought some Theta and maybe a little bit of Algorand, but XRP, but I'm holding it for the long term. This is going to be for my son, this is going to be for generations. This is not me thinking I'm going to be a millionaire in the next 6 months. This is me like, okay, what does the next 5 to 10 years look like? If you treat crypto like you treat it, a get rich quick thing, you're going to be disappointed. If you treat it like a lifetime achievement award where it takes a good amount of time to mature an account, because remember, if Bitcoin and all crypto went to $1 million tomorrow, then yeah, you would be rich, but you wouldn't be as rich as if Bitcoin were to continue into a bear market, because then you can accumulate more. The first time I bought Bitcoin was spring of 2017. If in spring of 2017, if we continue to go up till December 2017 and crush new all-time high, then guess what? I wouldn't have nearly as many coins as I do now. People often look at their portfolios in dollars. I say no. Look at your portfolio valued in Satoshis and Bitcoin and whatever coin you like. If it's XRP, if it's Ethereum, whatever coin you like, I want you to value your portfolio in the asset that you like. Maybe it might be gold or silver, right? Whatever it is, start stacking coins. Don't think about the dollars. The dollars will come. You want to increase your portfolio by dollar cost averaging, increasing the amount of coins you have. It doesn't matter if the value of those coins have gotten smashed and smashed and smashed, because over time, yes, it hurts now, and yes, it's painful, but over time, it will all pay off. That's what my plan is. I believe crypto is here to stay. I think crypto is going to be a big, big, big deal. This is not financial advice. I could be, like I said, totally wrong. You just got to believe what you believe and let God control the rest. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry it's so long, but I have to get the information out in the way I know how. I'm not an editor. I don't edit videos. This is just, if I screw up, it's in the video. So this is just one take from beginning to end, and that's it. So, take it with what you will, but just want to say again, appreciate for watching the video. If you made it this far, maybe give a like. If you don't like it, no worries. I'll try to do better next time. Thanks for watching.